Happy Tuesday. We are looking at some takeaways from the book of Hosea, minor prophet, first of 12, had the rather unconventional assignment of being loving and faithful to a faithless wife so that he could illustrate Israel's relationship to God. So far we've noted two things. First of all, that we are the faithless ones, and that it's and that God will use stories sometimes to smuggle truth under the radar so we can see it. I think we've all been alerted to the fact that at this moment, half the country thinks the other half is crazy and the other half returns the favor. They think the other side is crazy. I actually think it's not quite that way. I think that there are people on both sides of the spectrum who are particularly loud and vocal, and there's a lot of people in the middle that are maybe keeping their heads down and are not in such an acrimonious position. But the point is, it's really hard for people to be able to hear information they don't want to hear. And that's become increasingly obvious today. And so one of the things that God has done is he's using a story, an illustration, to try and smuggle truth under the radar, and it's about our faithlessness. Second thing we talked about is how unthinkable God's love is. How absurd in one sense it is that God is loving Israel that is being so faithless. So today I want to talk about, I just want to make the point, hopefully in a way that maybe you haven't thought of in the past, that God is God and he is far greater than your sin. I thought about talking about forgiveness, and I thought about talking about the fact that we don't have to clean our act up before we come to God. I mean, certainly Gomer doesn't in that story, right? I mean, she's stripped naked and sold by one of the men that was abusing her. She's sold as a sex slave, and Hosea goes and buys her at this lowest point, and he is instructed to love and to care for her. So, I mean, all of these are, again, these are spiritual truths here. I just want to note, I am occasionally in conversations with people that don't feel as though God can forgive them for some of the things that they've done. And I always want to make the point, forgive me, but you're simply not that big or that important. And God is, I mean, we get in the book of Hosea this sort of relentless love of God on display. I heard the other day that one of these illustrations, and I'll get the numbers wrong, but I'll get the direction of the numbers right, and that is that the distance between the earth and the sun, which I think is 92 million miles, if it was represented by a sheet of paper, that the distance between one end of the solar system and the other end, one end of the Milky Way galaxy and the other end is like 135 miles, right? This is 92 million miles. You got 135 miles of paper, each little sliver representing 92 million miles. We just can't even comprehend these things. And so I just want to just slow down and say, remember, the God who spoke all of that into existence, right? The God who has that kind of power, and he's more amazing and more glorious than the heavens that he created. The heavens declare the glory of God. They can't accurately capture the glory of God, but they are pointing us to the glory of God. That is the God who is able to forgive. And Gomer presents as a uniquely faithless and sort of reprehensible, leaves her kids, runs away, and yet God continues to chase her. That is, again, the love of God, which is on display in the book of Hosea for you. Have a good day.